What's going on, guys? I hope you are doing well this afternoon. It is 2:24 p.m. Central Standard Time where I am at. I just wanted to do some updates regarding S&P 500, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol possibly. All right, so I'm going to get real quick into it. I'm going to go into the daily perspective on the S&P 500 real quick. All right, so we are getting, we got a buy signal a couple days ago, and the volume weighted average price has crossed the zero line, and the momentum waves are starting to curl to the upside with very weak sell pressure. As you can see from the past sell events, probably dating back to July of 2022, we've had this lower low, then we've had a higher low, and at this current time, we have a higher low as well. So that is very, very good sentiment in regards to the overall trend moving to the upside. And as you can see, we did get a little bit of a fake out on this area right here. We had two buy signals. And yeah, then it kind of went back down. But also, it was kind of expected because if you look at everything in conjunction with this market liberator indicator, money flow was pointing to the downside. So that was a really kind of like a when you have things kind of conflicting and contradicting each other, that is a sign of staying away from that particular signal. Now, why do I feel more confident about this one? Well, we had the buy signal, okay? We have weak sell pressure for the most part as it stands, and also we do have an instance where we got bounces, excuse me, from key levels of support. So as take in consideration this dotted blue line right here, this to me, since the 4-hour candle time frame, has been a line of support. And guess what? We got a bounce here, dead cat bounce, lower high. When we went lower, guess what? It tapped that line once again, and we're currently having a rally to the upside. Now, we did get a significant bullish engulfing candle right here. Let me get that for you. Boom, right there, that candle right there. So any significant bullish engulfing candle, I like to use the bottom base as a substantial support. So as long as price is above 3,872.03, we should be good for further continuation. Now, we do have a significant daily support level, which is this downward sloping blue line right here. Yeah, from the daily perspective, we had a bullish engulfing candle right there, and we had a back test yesterday, and now we are seeing follow through as of today. So that's very good for the continuation. And I've stated in the past videos, I know it's kind of getting a little bit redundant, but descending broadening wedges, 83% of the time they break to the upside. So we survived a dump to the downside, didn't even back test 3,783.23, so that's bullish. You could argue that this is the new local low area. So we had a low, then we had a higher low. So that is indicative of a bullish trend, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm happy to say that, yeah, the S&P 500 has printed, from my perspective, a higher low, and it has survived a potential dump breakdown of this downward sloping support line. As you can see, we've had multiple days. I was very concerned last week in regards to the health of the market due to the daily candle closes losing out support right here. But, you know, trend was showing this downward sloping blue line, so I had faith that we were just going to bounce and then kind of wick to the upside. So yeah, so far so good. My thesis has been correct, and yeah, I do eventually expect price to test this top downward sloping dotted line right here, the slanted one right here, and ultimately break it. Honestly, I do feel that this area has been flipped as resistance right here, so if there is a break to the upside, we might see some turbulence around this area. But ultimately, I do feel that because this daily descending broadening wedge pattern target is up here, I do feel that eventually it's going to be a slow, methodical grind to create higher lows, higher highs, and to eventually hit this mark as the year goes on. So that's my thesis in regards to S&P 500 and the overall tech sector. And you know, the tech sector correlates a lot with crypto. So yeah, I'm going to get into Big Daddy Bitcoin here. All right, so a couple things have happened over the weekend. I hate I really hate weekend price action because it is so bipolar and it will fake people out. All right. And yeah, I mean, I've stated this. I don't know if I stated this in Discords and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure I've stated this in this video. But weekend price action is very, very bipolar. So it's best to actually wait for the Monday candle close to actually initiate and then kind of see where the market's at this time. So zoomed in here. For the past couple days, I've been keeping my eye on this trend line here. I'm going to make it thicker right there. This particular trend line, we did get this rising channel right here. It broke down a bit, but it just went sideways. We got a bounce off of the 21 exponential moving average. Didn't even wick it, actually. Didn't even touch it. We just kind of went to the upside on it. And we broke back up to the 9 exponential moving average. We've been kind of hitting the top side of the Bollinger Bands right here. So that's usually indicative of like a strong trend to the upside. But as you can see, this upward sloping yellow line has been key resistance pretty much since January. So right now it's interesting. We did break above it. And we're kind of like in this like no man's land, if you ask me, in regards to the trend. I can zoom in a little bit further on the 1 hour. So on the hourly perspective, we did get this downward sloping resistance line break to the upside, back tested as support. So we do have this downward sloping support line right here, which is rather interesting. If we do lose that, if we say have like a couple candle closes below that, we're probably going to dump substantially lower. I would probably say maybe to this area or to this area. Now, I did a Fibonacci extension over the weekend, but the top side has changed. So I'm probably going to have to redo that. So I'm going to do that right now. Oh, sorry. That is the wrong tool. There it is. Let's see here. And right there, and I'm going to turn it into yellow so your eyes can see what I'm looking at. Alright, so I did a Fibonacci extension in regards to a retrace, so if this is the true top, wait, actually, the true top is right there. Boom. Alright, so if the true top is it was a local top, right? We're looking at the 618 Fibonacci retrace right here. Right there. Change that into a green so you can see it a little bit better. And also the 382. So we've been kind of gradually ratcheting up our support lines. I need to take a sip of this coffee here real quick. Woo-wee. All right. Yes, so where was I? Yeah, in regards to the 618. So currently the 618, which if price does break to the downside, which I kind of am leaning a little bearish still, I do feel that we're going to head to the 618 at the very least. And if I see divergences around this area, so for example, usually when it hits 618, it's at the very least a dead cat bounce. Dead cat bounces kind of retrace to the 786, and if you see a divergence or a bearish divergence, then we're most likely going to go to the 382. So that's kind of like my perspective regarding a potential retrace. Why do I think it's a retrace? I think it's a retrace at this time because of the red sloping line. It has been lost as support and now is acting as resistance. It broke down right here, and then it broke back in. Obviously, it's the weekend, right? So the weekends are made to chop people in and out. And so the weekend price action, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But as you can see here, we do have this downward sloping support, but the macro support has been flipped as resistance. So to me, I do feel that this current ascending broadening wedge has broken to the downside, and it is an active bearish trade. That is currently what I'm looking at. Not financial advice. This is just my opinion. But you know, I've always said this: when supports are broken and you have an irrational, exuberant market, either to the downside or the upside, we could see continuation. But I just want you to know that this resistance indicates topside. This is like it's literally like a cap. It's capping the potential of any rally. Okay, so it could literally do this. I don't think it's going to do this, but that's just how I perceive these lines here. Okay, but from my perspective at this time, there's more downside potential then there is upside potential. So that's kind of like where I'm coming from like a mindset perspective. I do see more downside potential than there is upside at this time. There is this support line here. I would definitely say this could be a precursor of a head and shoulders pattern. Very, very premature, I would say. But it would make sense. Usually when you see ascending broadening wedge patterns break to the downside, you actually get head and shoulders right after that on some occasions. So something to keep in consideration. You could argue that this could be a triangle, but I'll be completely honest with you. My goodness. If we see 26.9K lost as support, I would feel that much more confident of opening up a short and at the very least hitting it to the 618. Okay, we're kind of like in this no man land chop zone, but you know there is I would say a developing resistance line that I'm keeping my eye on. I'll be honest with you right here. Yeah, that's correct. Let me change it into a red line. Let me, boom. There you go. So we do have this downward sloping line right here. So we do kind of have like a little falling wedge right here. But given that we are kind of exhausted in terms of overall trend, this could break to the downside. So there's multiple reasons of why I am assuming that this could actually be a head and shoulders pattern. So let me see here. I'm gonna do a just I know there's a lot of lines and all that kind of stuff, but I do have kind of like a reason for my madness. All right, so what we could see theoretically here, this is just a theory, but check this out. Because we have a downward sloping support line and we have a downward sloping resistance line, and we do have pretty much I'm going to turn this blue because it is technically support. We do have this support line right here. All right, so what we could see within the coming moments, well, not moments, more of like hours to days, is price coming back down, retesting this neckline as support, getting a dead cat bounce, confirming resistance, creating a other shoulder, comes back down and breaks down. That is the bear case for me right now. It makes a lot of sense from my perspective that we could see a head and shoulders, we could see some choppy action for the coming days to then break down lower. But yeah, I would definitely say I'd change my tune if this right here, if this resistance line is broken and we're able to regain any level above this thick yellow line, and I'm going to turn it white just to make it look different. Okay, so that is my thesis on Bitcoin. I am expecting choppy price action. Ultimately, if I do see that head and shoulders pattern develop, I would lean a little bit more bearish, I'll be completely honest with you. But also, I want you to realize if we do retake higher levels of this area, 28.3, if you see an hourly candle above 28.3, that is actually a confirmation of a negated head and shoulders pattern. So if you see price back up above 28.3K, we're most likely going to regain this level as support and then rip to the upside. So let me just zoom out on the daily. I know it's going to look a little insane because of all the lines. Yeah, it looks too insane. Sorry. Let me turn off everything here. Yeah, let me see if that could do better. Yeah, I'm going to turn off the Fibonacci, and I'm going to actually delete all this stuff right here just so you can see it a little bit more clearly. But yeah, regarding this area, I'm going to turn this white as well just so I can highlight both of them with the black background. There it is. So at this current stage, we are in a large descending broadening wedge pattern. All right, so these actually they lean more so bearish, but this fake out to the downside, that rip to the upside, made it look very, 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 very bullish. So realistically, if we see a daily candle close break above 28.3, we're most likely going to see this line as support on a daily time frame. That would be huge. That would be very, very huge. Breaking out of this and pumping to the upside would be phenomenal for the market and phenomenal for altcoins. Um, so yeah, like it's rather interesting that we are seeing this bearish pattern play out right here, the ascending broadening wedge. I would expect price to eventually tag the bottom of this area, um, something like this. If in fact this is a ascending broadening wedge breakdown, I would eventually see price come back to this area. So I do see the 318 matched up right here really well. So it's at 22.9, basically 23K. And yeah, so if this bearish pattern actually is going to play out, we are going to see a test eventually of 22K. From my perspective, I could be completely wrong on that theory. That's if the bear scenario actually plays out to the fullest. That is my perspective on the matter. But yeah, I mean, like I said before, we still have the 618 retrace level right here, which is a common pivot area at 25K. That could be revisited if this breakdown is valid. Now, I'm going to be honest, I am leaning more so bearish than bullish. And yeah, like I said before in previous videos, there's a lot of lines converging around this area to where I think it's a magnet at this point. Now, bullish exuberance is rather shocking and surprising to many, so we could get a retrace of the 618 as opposed to down here. So I am keeping my eye on a potential pivot to where we could dump a little bit more, then completely just regain all the gains like that. So that is a scenario I'm keeping close monitors on. So overall, Bitcoin's looking pretty good. I mean, yes, like I, not to brag here, but let's be real, I've been dollar cost averaging into this area right here. I bought a little bit down here once I saw this triangle pattern develop right here. Yeah, a little bit around here. And since then, we've just been ripping to the upside. So if you've been following me regarding this entire pump, I mean, you should feel pretty proud of yourself in regards to what has been happening in crypto. But yeah, just to let you know, there's nothing wrong with taking chips off the table around these zones. I usually don't do this as much anymore, just because like it was actually some of my videos would be like an hour long, and I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, my momentum oscillators. So this was resistance right here on the 2-hour time frame, and it's now being flipped as support, as you can see right here. I was telling my followers that once I see a break and retest, which is right here, I'm going to be going long. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? Let me just put them side by side. So this was right here. Just for perspective, guys, like I don't usually brag at all. I usually don't brag, but yeah, this is where I went pretty long here. And yeah, pretty much as it stands, 30% on Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, guys. All right, that's enough bragging. If you're active in the Discords that I'm active in, then you know what I'm talking about. But anywho, as it stands on the 2-hour time frame, we are getting a rejection off of the 2-hour, okay, off of this line. So I would have to mark this as resistance at this time. Still 16 minutes left, okay. It's been super choppy this entire weekend, but yeah, exuberance I feel is kind of waning. Not a bad thing. Overall, I do feel that we're going to be choppy and we're going to be losing momentum, and we're eventually going to be going to the downside. That's just my opinion. We got multiple bearish divergences accumulating. We have a lower high in money flow. So as you can see, we got a high, then we're getting lower highs right here. So that I've already taken some chips off the table, so to speak. And not financial advice, but that's kind of my perspective because, significant time frames are starting to turn a little bit bearish. Even on the 4-hour, we got a bearish divergence right here. We got another bearish divergence right here. Money flow is still thick in the green, all right? So we could realistically see, a dump and then a buy signal to come up again, and then eventually that's when we go down. But that is neither here nor there at this time. But as it stands, I like to look at the 4-hour at this time. We are getting, and realistically, I shouldn't even be dotting it. That's pretty staunch resistance right there. On the hourly time frame, we've marked the key level to watch for at 28.3. So if price were somehow able to break back above there, then we are going to continue to the upside and confirm this line as support. Okay, but as it stands, like I've stated, on the 4-hour time frame, it looks like we're losing it. We have 15 minutes left till candle close, right after a bearish engulfing candle. So I do feel that if we lose, I'll make it easier. So I did say 26.9K is the area to watch, which it really is. But honestly, if you want to front run that move, you could make the argument that if the 4-hour candle close goes below 27.2, then yeah, this would be bad. Losing 27.2. If you lose 27.2, you're most likely going to have to retest 26.9. If you lose 26.9, then we're definitely going to dump and confirm this ascending broadening wedge pattern that I've been keeping my eye on pretty much since March 14th. So I've been patiently waiting, and today on a Monday, real trading days, we are getting a rejection off the top side upward slant of this ascending broadening wedge, and we are getting a confirmation of rejection off of this even larger ascending broadening wedge. So that's my perspective on the matter regarding Bitcoin. All right, so I'm going to check out Ethereum here. So Ethereum is actually performing better than Ethereum is actually performing better than Bitcoin at this time. We did have this downward sloping support that was broken and back tested. Downward sloping resistance here that was back tested as support right around here. Price action did reveal this upward sloping line right here of support. Now this area right here, interestingly enough, at the Fibonacci level, is now getting contested as either support or resistance. So this is an interesting thing right here, because if Ethereum actually is outperforming Bitcoin at this time, then that just means that we might be closer to alt season. I'll be completely honest. When ETH starts taking the reins in regards to price action, then it gets a little bit more interesting for the altcoins, which it has been as of late. I mean, some have been pumping like 40, 50, 60, 80%, so it's been really interesting to see in that regard. So realistically, if we're able to maintain this upward sloping line of support and flip this key Fibonacci area as support as well, then I'd feel that much more confident of actually Ethereum visiting 2.1K, maybe even to 2.159K. So, yeah. Let me look at the momentum oscillators. So the momentum oscillators are actually pretty interesting. Yeah, we're getting divergences similar to Bitcoin, but money flow has not created a lower high just yet. So there's a lot of money going into ETH as opposed to Bitcoin. So I'm actually going to look at dominance right here. I know I wasn't going to say I was going to do it, but yeah, this is rather interesting. Because we're getting a buy signal right here. Okay, interesting. Yeah, for the short term, we actually might be seeing a bounce from ETH, but yeah, I mean, I've been waiting so long for this move to play out. So just to recap, if you haven't been here, this triangle pattern did break to the downside, and I've been essentially waiting. So this measured move, sorry, let me get that right here. So this measured move is very simple. You get the top of where price broke down, and you get the bottom of the triangle, and then you get that measured move, you get the point of breakout, and boom, you get that area, which is right around this zone. We've been getting closer and closer and closer to this level. So once we see price action pivot right around here, that's when I feel that much more confident in buying Ethereum. So yes, we are seeing some strength relative to Bitcoin at this time. But yeah, I do feel like we have a little bit more to go in regards to um, Ethereum value dumping versus Bitcoin. So I still see Bitcoin as the sexier asset from a buying perspective as opposed to Ethereum. All right, so I'm gonna go to Solana real quick, but oh, well, you know what? Let me close it out here. My thesis here is if I see a 4-hour candle close below 1,751 and also below this upward sloping support line, I would actually expect price to come back down to this box area eventually, do some wick action, maybe even back test this yellow line, which technically is a blue line because it's support. We do see some confluence at 1,587, so that's a mark that I'm keeping my eye on. All right, so now I'm going to go to Solana here. Solana has been kind of bipolar as of late. When you zoom out, we did actually get a fake out over the weekend, so I thought this was going to be a bear flag, because it was actually looking like a bear flag right here, and I thought we had gotten a breakdown. It was actually this candle here. I thought. Let me delete that. Yeah, this candle. Let me see. Yeah, there was weakness right here, and it broke down. It was on a Thursday, and no, actually, it had a bearish engulfing candle a couple hours later, but then, yeah, the market definitely pivoted right here. This was a nasty, choppy area. So I learned with Solana, I would probably have to stick with a 4-hour as opposed to a 1-hour. Yeah, because actually, funny enough, if you go to the 4-hour perspective, it actually might be a cleaner chart. Yeah, so that's interesting. All right, so I'm still kind of figuring out Solana. I usually don't TA altcoins much, but I am trying to get a better semblance of it, because usually for Bitcoin and for Ethereum, I can get away with like doing technical analysis on the 1-hour charts. Solana, probably not. I'm probably gonna have to be doing a 4-hour and a daily perspective on this one to be a little more accurate. But all right, so we do have this interesting development. Let me redo this one here. So this was a support line that I was kind of keeping my eye on, but it is on an hourly time frame, so I would consider that invalidated. This is a 4-hour descending channel, so that one was validated. Yeah, so I'm gonna redo this one here, gonna clean it up a bit so I can then get a better assessment here. Actually, no, there is some, yeah, it would technically be right here. That's interesting. All right, so yeah. All right, but it is the 4-hour. Yeah. All right. That looks a little bit more updated. Okay, so we do have this upward sloping supply line coming in as of this hourly candle, coming in at 20.4 cents. My big thesis on Solana was if we can basically hold $20, we're eventually going to hit $26. Now, given that my hourly TA was invalidated, pretty gnarly, so I'm going to try from now on just to stick to the 4-hour with Solana. I need to make a note of that. But yeah, so I do see pretty staunch resistance at 26.5. So as long as this supply line right here, I'm going to turn it yellow. As long as this line holds support, I do expect price to actually come all the way back up to 26.5K, sorry, $26.5. Given that there was a battle right here for supremacy in regards to the 20.85 mark, which is indicated right here by this local low and has been regained as support, if there would be a breakdown, realistically, if price is lost at 20.085, I would expect significantly lower, to be quite honest with you. I do see this particular Fibonacci opportunity right here. So I'm having issues. There you go. It's having difficulties getting to the wick bottom. Jeepers. There. So, oh, interestingly enough, okay, the 618 kind of aligns with the 20.08 mark. So I do see some confluence right here. Okay. And that's all she wrote. So that looks a little more strong as support right here. If we do lose that, I would expect the 382, which is right around this level right here, which is at 15.226. All right, but that's pretty much my thesis for Solana. We do have an upward sloping support line right here, so rest assured on that. We have the Fibonacci extension and the wick lows coming in at the 618 right here. So this is an area where buyers might come in and step up and support this level to then eventually rip this price all the way back up to 26. Now we do have a 618 all the way back close to basically 40 bucks, $39. So if we were to break above 26.56, I would expect this particular area to get tagged eventually. But all right, that's my thesis in regards to Solana. I sincerely appreciate your patience regarding the altcoins. I'm more of a traditionalist by nature, so when I do technical analysis, it's literally mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum. But as I'm getting more acclimated to altcoins, I realize that they're way more volatile than Bitcoin and Ethereum, so I have to use larger time frames to get more consistent data. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. I sincerely appreciate everything. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe with your friends. And yeah, if you want me to do any specific altcoins, please DM me in the Discord, or feel free to actually, just add a comment below in the comment section. Anyway, take care. Have a great rest of the day. Bye bye.